stage. Welcome back to Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. As always, I am Chat Show. Happy Mother's Day to you and yours. Let's just start there, shall we? I think the shirt might have been too white. Show 48, they tell me, is what you're looking at. I've written 49 on my... I'm very excited to be back in front of you once again. And first of all, I want to thank Brian Tyler for that wonderful opening music that we listen to every week that I still can't get enough of, quite frankly. Love it. Jeremy Shelton for designing that spinning opening logo. Just go to, what is it, Kenny?
Digital Innovations.
DigitalInnovationsinc.com, because I like to forget every week. And of course, JeremyRScott.com for doing such a great job building our little website there. Donkey Tees. Hey, did you know that you could, I feel like I have 3 t-shirts here, just 2. You could get yourself one of these. This one's for our guests, so pause off. DonkeyTees.com, your Ustream, your Justin TV, your Blip TV. Those are just all the people that are helping us, so I thought I'd mention them because I normally don't. My ride's here, I gotta go. They can't hear the siren, just keep talking. We hit kind of a milestone this last week on our little chat show efforts here. Every now and then we'll hit a little milestone, and we like to bring it to your attention. Why? We have egos. This is on the iTunes. You know, we have 16,000 podcasts now. 16,000, I think, was the last count. And we made the staff favorites #1 position on the staff favorites. If you go to your iTunes page, let me see if I can walk you through this. Put the iTunes page up. Now is good. Yeah, you bring up your iTunes with a crank, not a mouse, a crank from the 30s. We'll come back to this.
Ever since iTunes started using Steam power, everything's just gone to crap.
Sammy, let me take a look at that shot. You running the TriCaster that's fallen asleep at the wheel. What does Sammy and Jamal look like over there? Jesus, what's happening out there, people? Did you have the space shuttle to launch?
They left.
TriCaster, anybody? Holy crap, really?
No, it's just you.
Wow, there we go.
There we are.
That's fantastic. Someone alert the Guinness Book people, because that took longer than expected. And then now it's gone instantly. Yeah, that's what I wanted to see. Thank you. Oh, there are little shadows, so feel free to do this, Sammy, over your that shoulder. Yeah, when you can do a little shadow puppets throughout the show.
Perfect.
Thank you, guys. So, yeah, so you go to your iTunes and you go to the podcast, and the #1 on the staff favorites. So we did want to thank the staff of iTunes who put us in that position. There it is. You go to your iTunes, and then you hit podcasts. Wait, where's my cursor? There we go. And then you go scroll down to staff favorites. We're actually walking people through this. There we are, #1 position. We're so special, our farts smell good.
You gotta dig a little.
You gotta dig a little, yeah. You gotta go through it. And then they're all archived, and they're free. Not like me. All right. So thank you to the staff for that. That made us feel really good, and I'm sorry it took us 19 minutes to present it. Vamped Out, our fun little web series, Episode 5 debuts tomorrow, 5 of 6. It's been going gangbusters. We're very, very appreciative to all of those who have watched and written us about it. All the bloggers and the, I think it was vampires.com that made me smile a whole bunch when they said, curb your enthusiasm for the undead. And then Arrested Development from the web. My second favorite thing written. That's that. Babblegum.com is where you go to find that lusciousness. Season 2 has been ordered. What? Very excited. The Jew and the Arab, Jason Antoon and I have broken the 6 stories for next season already. We could begin shooting in July. So if you'd like to be a part of the production, write us at nope.
Wow.
What's up next? Dinner for 30? No. Dinner for 30. We had, Hank Azaria has an annual fundraiser poker tournament. And I finished in the money, as they call it, last year, and won Dinner for 30, which I thought was a gigantic big deal. And then I called the fine folks at the galley who offered this up, and they said, yeah, Dinner for 30, absolutely. Hot dogs, hamburgers, and pasta. Sorry? Aren't you famous for steaks? So I decided to have a little contest here on the show, and we, in fact, gave away our Dinner for 30. And I'd like to now read the brief note from Gary Rollin, who asked to be the winner for his daughter and her efforts at school to fit in.
This does not help. What we're doing right now does not help her in the least.
Yeah, they don't. I won't tell them that we did this.
Yeah, because all these 7-year-olds are watching this.
Yeah, that's our demographic, Sam. All right, I know this is a little bit late, but here's a report from the Galley restaurant. We had a total of 12 kids and 10 parents, 22 for those of you playing the home game. There's Gary Rollin and his daughter. We clamored and ate and drank around the back patio at the Galley for about 2 hours or so. If you're going to serve people hamburgers, hot dogs, pasta, you could do worse. The range of ages were from 3 to 12, with most of them being around 7 or so. Ella Plum, that was her pictured, is also age 7. There was a lot of running around and climbing on pieces of pointy concrete and wanting the inoperable water features to work. They made do by throwing red napkins into the water. We left it a bit of a mess. I attached a few pictures of the kids, the whole group, and of me and my daughter, Ella Plum. All in all, a great time. There they are, beautifully out of focus. I got a lot of "this was really nice" from the parents. That's what you want from the parents. This was really nice. Almost like they were surprised. So you know it was sincere, meant sincerely. And Ella Plum was on cloud 9 because she was, in fact, getting the attention. I thanked them and said if I ever win a Dinner for 30 again from an internet talk show, I would invite them all again. I just wanted to thank you for picking us. I hope I met your expectations as a contest winner. Pass along my thanks to the lovely Jamie Foxx, and a big hi to Sammy and all the rascals at KPCS. Continue to rise and shine, Gary Rollin. Well, isn't that lovely?
That is absolutely lovely.
They had a lovely time there, and Ella Plum was the star of the show.
I heard she won homecoming queen of 3rd grade.
She did. Already?
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Good luck at Sadie Hawkins. All right. Let's see. Next we have Ask Kevin, a new feature. Do we have a graphic for that yet? Look at this. Look at this.
Oh, that is fancy.
Jeremy R. Scott put that together. Where's my martini? Question 1. These are questions from you, the viewers. If I had picked up correctly on a couple of occasions, you and Jamie are foodies. So my question would be, which show do you like better, Top Chef or Hell's Kitchen? And who are some of the chefs that really impress you? If I'm totally wrong, my bad.
I don't watch either of those shows.
Yeah, we don't watch those shows, so I don't have a favorite among them. But Throwdown with Bobby Flay and Iron Chef are my 2 favorites. We're all about the Bobby Flay here. And he's been now a great pal the last couple of years. And Jamie turned me on to him, and I immediately had the man crush because he's drinking while he's cooking, and he's tasting his food while he's cooking, like a person does. And I like that a lot. And Boy Meets Grill was the first thing I fell in love with. So we love Bobby Flay, and we are foodies, and there you go.
Can I answer?
Yeah,
The
Jamie,
shows I
please.
like?
Please chime in.
I like Alton Brown's show, the one where he does, I forget the name of it, but Good Eats. Yes, thank you, Kenny.
Nice, Kenny.
I love that one.
Assist by Dr.
And I love
Chen.
Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives with Guy Fieri.
Guy Fieri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Who also you cooked with at the kitchen at the Disneyland Napa Rose
Maybe.
restaurant. All right. Do you think, right? Question 2, do you think you and most of us will break our television sets on May 23rd, the series finale of Lost, due to it not living up to our expectations? I think it will satisfy my expectations because my expectations are reasonable. The show never jumped the shark, nor did it derail, even when people were complaining in season 3, I think, was when the bitching really started. They had me from hello and all the way through, and I'm as devoted as you can be, and I actually am enjoying the hell out of this season. I think they're wrapping up beautifully to go against the grain of what everyone's complaining about. Question 3. So, do you like stuff?
Is that from Sean Things?
Is it? No, it's not from Sean Things. My answer, of course, is yeah. All right. Thank you for Ask Kevin. If you have any questions of your own, write them to, I think, just contact at kevinpollak'schatshow.com, right? Thank you. And now, our last of the big new portions of the show, this one called The Big News, which started last week. And I had so much fun writing a sermon, I decided to write another one. And now, the big news. Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, a much-needed, deserved holiday celebrating the importance of moms. Thanks, moms. Without you, none of us would be here. Except, of course, the few who were cloned. You know who you are. And yes, we know you're out there. Thanks, moms, for protecting us from evil, or even just the neighbor's dog. Unless, of course, your mother was a hideous, abusive, self-absorbed, bipolar drunk. Mine wasn't. But there's got to be enough of those kinds of mothers out there that we should take at least a moment to acknowledge the pain and suffering that they inflicted on the young and defenseless. Shame on you. You evil bitches should die a horrible death. As for the other 90% of mothers, on behalf of truly lucky kids everywhere, let me just say thanks, Mom. Thanks for your unconditional love and forgive us for not calling enough. It's just that, well, your love is the easiest to take for granted because it asks so little in return. Unless, of course, you're the kind of mother that needs to be the center of attention and, in fact, needs to make everything about you. It's understandable why most moms suffer from this syndrome. When we were babies, Mom was our everything. Mom must have naturally then absorbed all that we need you to survive vibe that babies and toddlers all exude. Eventually, moms are needed less and less. And the children become young adults who think they know everything. They need mom less and less, yes. Moms, however, have a void of no longer being desperately needed that's never filled again. So yes, if, as an adult, Mom seems like she needs to be the center of your universe, it's just because your love was the greatest drug she ever had. And Mama needs a fix. Today, and maybe tomorrow too, be Mama's favorite little high and make her the center of your universe. Please. Lastly, thanks to the head writer Seth Meyers of SNL and all the writers there for celebrating moms by bringing back all the best damn funny mom cast members on last night's show. It was so great to see them all again. Oh, and thanks, Seth, for reminding us that underneath that smirk of yours on Weekend Update thrives a frat boy who thought it would be cool to have Betty White say fuck twice during her triumphant hosting debut. Ms. White was an instant star on the TV when it was born 60 years ago, and you thought it was clever to have her be mostly filthy. Well, allow me to hoist you with your own petard, sir, by saying, really? For the big news, I'm Kevin Pollak. Now let's get the hell on with the show. I got to stop writing these long sermons. I would like to now welcome my guest because, well, I became a fan many, many years ago. And then when I started getting intertwined with the interwebs and inner vision, as I like to call it, I became acutely aware of her once again and her efforts to be a champion to all of us who are interested in creating original content for Intervision. I'm proud to ask you to please welcome Justine Bateman. Hello, Justine.
Hello. Thank you.
Thank you for sitting so patiently during my...
I did. I want to make sure my cup is being seen by my camera, not yours. There we go.
You're very sweet. So yeah, we have a shirt for you and my new live CD. Get gifts right away at the top.
Awesome.
Kind of butter you up a little bit.
I have to say I'm very, very happy to be here. Thanks for asking me.
Oh, please, you're quite welcome. And I normally like to start. Well, there's actually maybe no normal, but often like to start with how the hell and when you got the calling and all of that. But first, I actually want to talk about net neutrality because I'm new to it. I so knew that when I was at the Streamies and I was backstage about to go on and be, well, quite funny, I asked someone, hey, what's with the ribbon? I'm still unclear. And when they explained it, I took the ribbon off that person and put it on myself before I walked out. and I would love to know more. So if you wouldn't mind, let's jump in with that.
Sure.
Because you spoke in front of the damn Congress a couple of years ago.
I did. I testified on behalf of net neutrality. It's always interesting to hear the other side, which of course the representatives, well, first I'll tell people, for those of you who don't know, first of all, if they go to savetheinternet.com.org.com.
Try them both.
Yes. They make it so easy to send an email to your senator or representative.
I did, yeah, it was quite
So
easy.
it's really easy. Name, address, and you're done. And just to let them know, like, well, I have to tell you what it is first before
Sure.
you could say, like, this isn't happening on my watch.
Right.
Okay, basically, the telecom companies, a lot of them are also cable providers, okay,
Sure.
like Comcast and Time Warner. Now, they've been making, the cable providers have been making a lot of money off of all of us
Oh, boy.
and off of all the advertisers, right?
Sure.
And they are able to decide what you're going to see and, you know, how much you're going to pay for it.
Right.
Well, here comes the internet, and if everybody, when there's that tipping point, and people are getting televisions with hard drives in them. I think in 2012, I think 60% of all TVs shipped will have hard drives within them. So you'll be able to pull the data instead of, we used to get it
Absolutely.
from a signal,
Yeah.
then you got it from cable, and then maybe you got it from satellite. Now you just pull it from an IP. I mean, you
Right.
just pull it from a website. And they're going, how can we get a cut of that?
Yeah.
Is basically what they're saying. How
Right.
can we continue to get a cut from people absorbing, content? So I'll tell you a couple of things that they've done so far. There's censoring, there's just making decisions on our behalf that can't be. Like, I believe it was AT&T, they had a streaming concert, Pearl Jam concert. In the middle of songs, Eddie Vedder said something negative about, at the time, President Bush. They muted him.
Jesus.
Okay. Another time, Comcast, these all happened very close to each other right before I went and testified. Comcast decided to block, they decided that these peer-to-peer networks were taking up too much of their bandwidth. Well, probably. But you can't do things like block peer-to-peer transferring files that are not copyright protected, like things from the 20s, where copyright has expired. And they did that.
Right.
And this very smart guy, whose name I don't know, he took this very, very far because he was downloading like barbershop songs or something, and so he looked into this. He's like, why is this bit getting blocked?
You're talking about public domain stuff.
Yes, public domain stuff. Well, the FCC said, Comcast, you can't do that, and Comcast said, really? And they said, yeah, you can't do that, and they said, says who? And they said, well, we're the FCC. We have these guidelines. And Comcast said, do you?
Wow.
In other words, what law is preventing us from doing any of this?
Right.
Fuck you.
Right.
Was essentially what they said.
Yeah.
And then recently the Court of Appeals looked at this, and their job is just to know the law, see if it's been violated, and hand out a punishment if there has been.
Right.
And there wasn't a law broken. So there needs to be a law so that the internet providers can't do that, because right now there's no law against that, and there's also no law against them going to Babblegum or FM78.tv, my company's site, or Google or eBay or anybody and saying, you want to reach my customers? How about $100,000 a month?
Really?
Yeah.
They could do the old mobster shakedown.
Sure, why not? There's no law against it.
Right.
So they have the potential
But I mean,
to
if you were that company and you said you're not going to get $100 grand, then Comcast could.
say, well, then when they put in google.com, they will not be able to find you.
Wow.
They could. There's no law against that right now.
Right.
So my feeling is like, they say, well, they're using our tubes. They say, yeah, I'm using your phone lines too, but if I negotiate $1 million deal over the phone, I'm not going to give you a cut of it. I get to use it however I want, and I get to use it how often I want.
Sure.
And you don't get a say in how it gets used.
Right.
So it's essentially it. Like, they want to control where you're going to go, how fast you're going to get to those sites.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I started tweeting about it, and right away people were saying, really, you'd rather have big government controlling, and boy, do you.
Here's my answer to that.
FCC has been looking after our well-being for a very long time.
Not only that, when people say, oh, you don't want government regulation, here's my answer to that. Do you enjoy the government regulation of whether or not murders can be committed?
Right.
Do you like the government regulation on whether or not you can rent an apartment if you're African American and maybe the people who own the building don't like African Americans? There are laws against that.
Right.
Okay? So it's good that there's government regulation on things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, people need to get clear on, it doesn't suddenly mean the government's going to know what sites you're going to. I mean, that's Facebook's job, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Clearly, it is their job. Kenny, I'm going to put a challenge to you, sir. This is Dr. Chen, of course, everyone knows, one of our favorite producers here and floor director inside the studio. I've made such a horrible error that I'm afraid my shirt looks like it's on fire. In the closet, there were a lot more colors involved in the flesh, but on the thing, I'm on fire. So I think maybe we just that one. I'm going to put you to test while I'm continuing my interview here to just lower the hell out of the torch that's setting me on fire. So when you appeared in front of Congress, first of all, you have a very just cause. You have, really? What happened? That was it?
Take a look. Ding dong.
Thank you, Kenny. He was up for 3 seconds, which is why I said really, and then he said, take a look, ding dong. In case Kenny's no longer mic'd. So you appear in front of the Congress, and you like I said, you have the just cause on your side. You have the information that the Congress does not. You're going to represent content creators. Mm-hmm. A hell of a responsibility.
Well, I was there with the president of the WGA at the time, so
right.
I had good company. And I'm pretty sure, oh God, the guy who's so great at copyright, like new copyright laws, and man, I can't remember his name right now. Sorry. So,
but
carry
Patrick
on.
Verone?
Patrick Verone was there, yeah.
Yeah. So he's representing that sort of larger entity that would be the WGA
mm-hmm.
West. But you're really there as the creative community. Mm-hmm. And it's that responsibility that I'm wondering what that was like for you in terms of literally sitting down in front of these elected officials and saying, we're mad as hell, we're not going to take it anymore.
It was really,
I mean,
sorry.
I know you're there speaking from your heart and your passion, but still, as a person, how intimidating and weird was it?
Well, the funny thing is in Washington, there's a real, I've never spent a lot of time there. I've been through there a couple of times, but everybody's very smart.
Yes.
And you're very judged on how smart you are.
Oh, yes.
And how smart the words are that are coming out of your mouth. So, of course, before you go testify before a committee, you have this speech that they have to see first, and it has to come in under a certain time and everything. So I knew what I was going to be saying.
Yeah.
But what I found the most intriguing about doing this is that, yes, I had Patrick Verone and this very smart lawyer, whose name I can't remember right now, and a representative from the Christian Coalition, and a representative from the NRA, because all of us, none of us want
Sure.
our points of view.
And very smart to show the diverse nature of the problem.
Eliminate it, right. And also great to hear, at one point the representative, because the telecom companies themselves didn't show up, they had a representative who was the Society of All Telecom Companies. I forget what the organization was, but something like that. And he was there speaking, and he doesn't really have a dog in that hunt, but he's just there. This is his job, right? Versus the other people who really have a passion for this.
I just pictured Marty Short's character that they would interview sometimes with the little cigarette and the long ash, and he was really nervous, and he was being interviewed by like a Mike Wallace. And why would you say that? What do you mean by that?
My God.
Yeah. So was the guy? How was he?
He seemed very calm, but a little dispassionate, right? And at one point he was talking about, as trying to paint the telecom companies like they're the little guy, and they go,
Oh
we
my
have
God.
a lot of competition in the, particularly in the cell phone arenas, and I mean, he was going on like this. But the truth was, and this had already been said, that in many areas in the country there is no broadband connection, and in most areas there's only one choice.
Right.
You don't get to choose between Time Warner Cable and AT&T for your internet connection. There's just one company that's got, its threads out there. And so he says this about the competition thing, and then Senator Kerry goes, He takes a beat and then he says, you don't expect anyone in this room to believe what you just said, do you?
Wow.
And I was like, oh, you're so sexy. I love it.
Wow, that is pretty fantastic.
So awesome.
Wow.
He essentially just said, you're a fucking liar.
Yeah.
Next.
How dare you?
Yeah, there were a couple of guys. It was a very interesting process to look at.
And where does it stand now? Because that was almost a couple of years ago.
Yeah, now it looked like the FCC and President Obama were going to back away from making this into a law. But then recently, FCC Chair Chenoweth? No, I'm not getting that right. I don't know his name
Call
right
him
now.
Larry. It's always a good show, too.
So unfortunately, I don't know his name right now, but he fortunately did a pushback and said, no, wait a minute. It's tough because the telecom companies have one lobbyist for almost every senator and representative out there
50.
right now.
They have like 50.
No, more.
Really?
More. A lot of lobbyists out there, and they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars. And can you imagine, these telecom companies put a lot of, and I like the telecom companies, I use them, but stand back. You can't come in and start, just because you give birth at a certain hospital, you don't have to give things, you don't have to give the child small finger at its first birthday back to the hospital. You don't have to there's no further obligation to, thank you for the service, I'm good.
Right.
But these telecom companies, they've spent hundreds of millions of dollars. Oh, it's tough for the lawmakers because you imagine how much money they're putting into their campaigns.
Constantly.
So then they come back and they say, hey, this net neutrality thing, it just doesn't work for us. It doesn't work for us. We can't scale with it.
Yeah.
It can't be a law. And
Every day they're calling. You need to make this go away, Congressman.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And then the congressmen and the representatives, or the congressmen and senators are like, what do I do? What do I do here? Hoping it'll go away. I'm sure they're thinking that. So but if there's enough people, and there have been I think over 250,000 people sent emails recently to the FCC chair and said, not in my time. Right. Not in my time is that going to happen. Not in my time is the way I'm able to use the internet now going to change.
Right.
And that's great. And people just need to keep doing that until this becomes like a non-issue.
Yeah, because otherwise, no one will really know it's a problem until it's affected them.
Oh, don't you know it?
And then they'll all say, wait a second, yeah.
Yeah, the second it goes away, they'll go, yeah. And this is not just content distribution like on cable. This is education, it's commerce, it's people's causes. It's not just, TV shows and movies like cable is. So it's free speech too.
Utterly.
You'd hope that would be brought into the argument.
No, don't be silly.
Unfortunately. So there's a lot of money on the table and a lot of money at stake, and but more importantly, I'd be horrified if my children, when they got older, said, "What do you mean you were able to? What do you mean you could just go to any site you wanted to, and you got there you got to each site at the same speed?" And nothing was blocked depending on your provider. And I'd say, yeah. And if they were to say, well, what happened?
Yeah.
I'd say, oh, I don't know. It just kind of, why didn't you try and stop it? Oh, I don't know. I was busy. I'd be horrified.
Yeah.
Horrified.
And didn't Dad and some of the other men carry their phones in like a holster at some point, Mom? And you actually used to call people, right? You idiots.
I used to have to get on a plane and not teleport? What?
Yeah. You didn't just think of a place and you were there? All right. So clearly there is a way for people to tell them one more time where they can go.
Yeah.
It's either .com or .org, but what's the first part of that?
SaveTheInternet.com.
Right.
It's .com.
It's .com, great.
We looked
Thank
it
you.
up.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, SaveTheInternet.com. And I know it may seem like, oh, that's silly. What do you mean? The internet's never going to go away. It's here to stay. But like you just said, the morning it's choked, if we allowed it to get choked,
right,
you'd be very, very unhappy.
Well, yeah. The notion that an entity could control where it is that I'm navigating to online sounds probably quite foreign to your average bear. But the fact of the matter is, it's about bandwidth at some point, and there are many ways.
And people pay for that.
Yeah.
So, money's changing hands.
Yeah, you're getting the money.
Money's changing
What do you
hands.
want? What else? Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm told by the end of this year, almost every new television sold is going to have instant internet.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they're stepping up.
that's
They're stepping
interesting.
up the efforts.
Yeah.
Certainly, it'll be here before my Tesla. All right. Happy Mother's Day.
Thanks.
I realize I hadn't said that yet on the program. I want to hear a little bit about your childhood, if I might. You were born in the upstate New York area, were you?
Yeah, right.
So, at an early age, tell me when it becomes somewhat of a notion that what most kids think of as play and fantasy and creating fun and whatnot becomes, wait a minute, there's a thing where you go to a place and they can actually be in a movie or a TV
It
show.
didn't go that way for me. We lived in quite a few places before we moved to California. And then once we were here, my brother Jason at one point decided he wanted to be an actor. And we had some neighbors who, a neighbor who was an actor, who was an adult, and he was going to an audition where they were casting for a father and a son. So Jason went with them. And he got into the whole thing. He was on Little House on the Prairie and all this. And so a year later, my mom said, why don't you do a couple commercials just for the hell of it? And I was like, what? Like, it had never...
How old were you?
15, 16.
It wasn't on your radar.
Had never, ever, ever crossed my mind. Not in a million years.
Holy crap.
Never crossed my mind. So I said, all right. So I met Jason's agent, and within 4 months, I had 2 commercials and the pilot for Family Ties. I didn't know what a pilot was. When people said we're picked up, I was like, is that good? I mean,
Yeah.
okay. So, yeah, and it wasn't really until I was like 18, like 2 years later, they went, because I was still, like, school was really important to me, so I was applying to colleges and all this. Even a couple of the writers on staff, like, wrote me recommendations at Dartmouth and stuff. And so I just assumed I could go. And then it was the line producer that had to come, Carol Himes, and say, you know you can't leave. Like, you're under contract. I was like, what? Can't I just become a semi-regular now or something? She's like, no, this is
What year, what season was that?
That was season, you know, the second or third season that I was.
Juggernaut already.
Yeah, but I just didn't.
I mean, you were
I don't
16,
know.
I forgot.
It's weird, you know, at that time, in the early, mid-'80s, I mean, to really the 1990s, if you were on a hit show, that was a unique situation. I mean, you didn't have 500 cable channels.
Yes.
Okay, so if you were on a top 5 show, first of all, you're getting like 25 share, you know,
Yeah.
regularly, right? The Super Bowl got like a 40 share, you know, without trying.
Right.
And that's just how the numbers were. So when you would go out, people freaked out, no matter where you went, right? But at the same time, you only had Entertainment Tonight, maybe Access Hollywood. You had the Showbiz Minute on CNN, a minute.
Barely.
And you had People, Us.
There was no TMZ.
That was
there
it.
was paparazzi was pretty minuscule.
Right. So you were really famous, but you didn't have all these sources seeking out.
Infamous.
Yeah. So it was an interesting time, which is why I say, like, to put it in a little bit of perspective, when I say that 2 years into the show, I was thinking I could just go to college, like,
right.
You know, because you didn't have that sense of like, oh my God, I'm famous, I'm on a really big show, and I don't know, it just wasn't that feeling.
Also, you were still quite the kid, and
Yeah,
I think it's less impressive, especially when we're now learning this wasn't your idea.
Well, and it wasn't anybody's idea, really. It's not like my mom pushed me into it or anything like that. It's just the idea had never occurred to me.
Right.
You know.
Or her.
Yeah, and I see what you mean. I had never dreamt of being
Well, a lot
an
of people
actress or
who have
something.
sat here,
Yeah.
when asked about the moment of clarity, it's a fairly good through line to these episodes.
Yeah.
And these chats, because for most performers who have any sort of fame, there was a moment of, I almost liken it to the oddity of running for president in a strange way. You know, you see all the guys Sinich and all these guys lining up when it's the early rounds. And you're thinking, really, every one of these people had this dream, I want to be the single most powerful human being on the planet? I don't know that it's ever really taken out of context and just slowed down for a second to say, that was a decision you made. You actually sought out being the most powerful person on the planet. You came to a place where you said, yeah, I should be, right? I mean, everybody thinks I'm funny at home. They think I'm hilarious. I'm so damn popular. I should be the most powerful person alive. And I think that the performer egos, as sensitive and childlike initially, it just continued to be just sensitive. It started out as sort of this weird sort of pipe dream, like it went from playing in the sandbox to getting a little bit of attention, like, whoa, I got the bug here. So even as a child, you didn't experience any of that? Did you shun that sort of attention, or?
No, I don't
wasn't
know.
that impressed.
It just never occurred to me. I was really I was all about trying to get great grades.
You're a
that was
book smart.
That was my thing, and we moved around a lot, so I really liked that too. I liked being the new girl, because you were exotic without really having to.
That actual cred.
Yeah, just because you were. But I mean, I guess after I realized that I was not going to be able to leave and just go to where was it I was going to go? Maybe it was BU or something. But I think at that point I said, okay, I guess this is what I do. But don't get me wrong, I thought I had become quite good at it. I mean, as much as I fell into it, I did feel that when I say quite good at it, it came to me very easily.
Yes.
It came to me very easily. I could look at a script and break it down. I had
memorization skills.
I could do the memorization. I could do the emotions. I understood about character and arc, and I was working with some really talented people and some really talented writers. So.
But what about performing in front of a live audience like that? If this was not in your background,
it just didn't do anything. It didn't bother me. It didn't.
Well, then you're a freak.
Affect me. Yeah.
Or you were one.
And it's particularly doing comedy. I mean, it's a thrill to do a comedy in front of a live audience and get that. You have to have that perfect timing to get that perfect reaction.
And when you miss hit.
When you miss it. And then timing how, coming in after a laugh and not coming, and just playing that. I loved that.
Yeah, that's quite
exciting.
Intoxicating.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it's why so many of the sisters and brothers get lost in the world of drugs and alcohol, because they are chasing that live high.
Well, like you talked about the mom in the beginning here, where you're saying she
used to be the
needs
center
another
of attention.
fix.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have that, And then there's other, I mean, I started writing 6 years ago, and that I'd thought about writing for a long time, and then I don't know, I feel like I got 3 fully formed scripts in my head at once. I was like, okay, let's get them down. And I just love it so much. So that's another high. Now I just have
Wizards
a real high
of
about
Waverly
that.
Plays,
Well,
your first sale of a television
my first
script?
Sale.
Congratulations.
That's through one of my we have a production company, FM78.tv, and that's one of my partners, Peter Murrieta, was the executive producer, and won that show an Emmy, brought it to its highest ratings ever, and he did a great job with that show. And that was I got to write with the writing staff for the first 6-8 weeks of season 2 and help break stories and everything. And then when they assigned the stories.
Well, that's a very nice and organic way to get into that.
Yeah.
Here's my opposite world version. I was cast as 7th lead on a sitcom. Mm-hmm. It aired and lasted maybe 6 weeks or something, and I was all very new to the acting from stand-up. Coming of Age, it was called. The great Barry Kemp, who came from the second Newhart show, and Paul Dooley and Glynis Johns and all these great people. Alan Young from Wilbur, great cast. And so I'm 7th lead in this thing or whatever, and I want to do anything I can to boost my character's screen time or stage time, since it was a sitcom. So I pitched a story idea to the showrunner.
Yeah.
Barry Kemp, and he said, it's a great idea. You want to write it? And I said, yeah. It hadn't at all been a possibility in my mind.
Yeah.
Next thing I knew, I was writing an episode of the show, not knowing that it was rewrite by committee.
Oh, yeah,
And maybe 3 sentences of my version
That's pretty interesting.
ended
Yeah.
up in the show.
Yeah.
But the on-screen credit said written by Kevin Pine. I joined the Writers Guild.
That's great. Did you do more of that show, or there weren't enough episodes to do that?
That was about 3 episodes before we were asked to leave the studio. Yeah,
great.
we shot like maybe 15. No, actually less than that because we didn't even get the back 9. So it must have been around episode 11.
Yeah. So I had my writing crew was more like a water berth, and yours was more like having in the cab, right?
Yes, absolutely. But hooked ever since, and a new sort of nirvana that I didn't realize was really possible or capable in terms of my creative abilities and instincts or talent. Our little monitor from our space station on the outside of the studio where the show is run has put up a little note saying that your microphone may be hitting your arm. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's buried nicely in your fabulous dress.
Is that better?
I don't know. We'll find out. They'll send me another note.
Better?
They'll send me another note is all. Tell
could
me
hook it to
about
my
the
necklace.
FM78.com.
FM78.com
Let's
is...
jump around a little bit.
Oh, you know,
Why not?
whatever. Or go down the list.
Yeah, no, the list schmissed.
Bless you. There's a lot of panels that I speak on sometimes where there's an agenda.
Oh my.
And you just go, oh man, just let it run. Look at these great panelists. Don't stick to the plan.
It's so painful, isn't it?
It's a shame. It's kind of a waste. FM78.TV is a production company that was started during the writer's strike of 07-08. And my partners are Peter Murrieta and Jill Kushner.
Thank God, by the way, as it turns out, for the writer's strike, because truly the explosion of original content online and its brilliance was born of those days.
It really was.
Such a strange...
I know. And it's not that the writer's strike started it, but it was...
Writer's right.
It was a moment. It was a perfect storm. It was a moment where everybody realized the bottom of the distribution pyramid had dropped out, and everything had changed.
And everyone was bored sick, having not being able to write. Yeah, it was a perfect marriage of that.
So we started that, and because we were seeing all that change, we said, wow, let's just, like I bought some URLs that I thought would make good television stations, names that I thought would make good television stations. And
I grabbed, I think, thatstudio.tv.
That's great.
Yeah, you go after everything at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, and a .tv is convenient because it's, this is going to be a show.
Right.
Anyway, so we just saw, that we could take all of our scripts that we would have pitched to ABC or HBO or something and go straight to sponsors. And like the early days of television, I know you cited that about this show too. And and now we have, I'll tell you an ironic element here, but we have like terrific relationships with like P&G and IBM and Nestle and all these different people now, which is amazing. And I put together and I didn't realize that I had a skill set for pitching to sponsors that I really love. Like I love pitching to them. I love telling them how this will, what the ROI is going to be for their company and putting together these PowerPoint presentations and everything. But the ironic thing is it's a long process with sponsors. And we love the model, and we know they're going to be so pleased seeing that, through press and through word of mouth and passing things around and everything, you get a much better return on your investment than if you just bought some ad time, I think. Because then the association with the brand, you associate with this awesome show, it just is this ad buy that keeps on giving. But the ironic thing is that we've gotten to know some really great players at the digital arms of the studios.
Yes.
And for one of them, the paperwork's not finished yet, so I don't know that I can say the studio yet, but they've hired us to do an adaptation of a book collection that they own and turn it into a web series.
How great is that?
And they're great. The people that run this department are great and really get it. And same thing with the digital arms of a couple of other studios. I don't know, I guess it's evolved to a point where there are people in these positions that get what's going on, and they get...
Yeah.
They have digital backgrounds also, versus the early days of all this where you had, was it Studio 9, what was the ABC arm, and it, 60 frames and Super Deluxe and all these places. And when you read about how much millions and millions of dollars they burned through, you just go, wow.
It was $20 million minimum to jumpstart Funny or Die. You know, when they built.
But that's still here today, so that's good. But these other ones might have had the same seed money and then gone away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been at the precipice now for about 4 years, and now the future is here.
Yeah.
You guys okay out there? Something's going down.
Boy, that crew gag better
But yeah,
great
right?
today.
I did get up. We could tell by their laughter. You just nailed it on the head, Sammy.
Are they putting a gag together?
Oh, we do a crew. We foolishly allow them to get creative, and as Jamie has bitched about many a time, they spend the entire show working on the crew gag. When in fact I'm saying, is anyone at the TriCaster? Nope, somebody was working on the crew gag. The mic, by the way, they just sent me a note, is much better. So thank you for that.
Oh, good.
So, yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the early heady days of television stardom, because you made a good point about how it really was that last wave or a gone by era where, without paparazzi and TMZ and the constant need to create infamous, if it bleeds, it leads, it really was the last sort of era of just kind of pure sparkling TV stars who had to really screw up bad to get any sort of bad press, as opposed to a press that's sort of salivating for the first drop of blood.
Yeah, and you also, you know, and there was something about, you know, being 20 and female at that time too, where you wanted to be respected by these other actresses and people in the business that you respected, you know, directors and stuff. So you would be mortified if anyone caught you doing some of the things you're doing. So you were careful about, I mean, let's say this, even though there's so many more paparazzi and entertainment outlets and stuff, if you want to do something you don't want people to know, you can do that. It's possible. You have to not tell people. Yeah, and you have to not do it in front of people who have cameras and cell phones with cameras, and you can do it.
Stop the cry for help.
Don't record it.
How about that?
Then it won't get passed around.
Maybe if you'd like to have sex, make sure there's not a camera. As a novel notion.
Yeah, so it's possible, but perhaps that wasn't the point.
Yeah, yes.
You know.
Or if you want to start a career, make sure there's a camera present. No reason to go into details. Talk to me about how often, I'm forgetting his name, and I know it, I've known it for years, and I'm really sorry for forgetting, but how often was Skippy hitting on you on a daily basis? The actor who played,
Mark Price.
Price.
I don't know, it was so long ago. I mean, he definitely, you know, sometimes I'd look up from the, you know, when we'd read around the table, do the table read, and he would be just looking at me, and I thought,
this is creepy.
Yeah. Just looking.
Yeah.
So I don't, you know, I mean, what can I say? He was an actor who worked on the show, you know what I mean? Like, almost 30 years ago.
Right.
So that was about it.
I'm not suggesting you hadn't forgiven him. And it was only because I've known him for all these years that I had to throw that out there. But the efforts to work on other stuff while you're on a juggernaut show like that also, were there instant restraints in terms of what you could or couldn't? Was there a desire for you to sort of
yeah, you always to do something different.
Reach beyond it while you were still doing it?
Oh yeah, always. That's what everybody did.
Right.
And there were no restrictions. I wasn't under a Disney contract.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, the Disney contracts, those kids are like, they're not really compensated that well, I don't think. And they have to go do all these promotional trips for their show or other shows.
Sometimes going on tour for 6 months at a time.
Or a cruise.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Have you done
and
that,
at the
by the way?
same time,
Have you done yourself a cruise? Does it not seem like a Twilight Zone episode to you?
It sounds horrible to me. I'm sorry. I know some people really enjoy it, but it just doesn't sound good to me.
They're not recognizable.
And then at the same time, they're not allowed to go do projects that are contrary to the feel of the show they're currently on, which is, I think it's horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, they're actors, you know?
Right.
They wanted, you got to do stuff that's different.
Right. So, because it seemed like for someone who did technically fall into it, that when you did make the adjustment to, as you put it, I guess this is what I do, that you were kind of smart about it in terms of making the most of it and the opportunities that it might provide in diversifying one's career.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't regret it or anything. It wasn't a reluctant, oh, I guess this is what I do and I can't wait till my contract's out. It wasn't like that at all.
No,
I mean,
no, I didn't mean to
loved
suggest
being there. It just had never occurred to me that that would be my career, you know, that that would be what I would do for a living.
Right. It seemed like a lark and a really fun thing, and you had only been on a couple of auditions, I suppose, by that point.
Yeah.
So the severity of rejection that most actors have to look forward to hadn't taken its toll in any way, shape, or form.
I didn't even know what that was.
So,
But
coming from that,
wait, Kevin.
Yeah.
I now know what that is.
Oh, please. It's inevitable. There's no escaping it. Yeah.
To the point where I'm like, I mean, you know, like I said, I'm writing and producing a lot more than I'm acting. But still, when the auditions come my way, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think I've gone 3 years without getting a job off an audition.
Right.
I've gotten them from friends, you know, like, you know, Mark Cherry, Desperate
Sure.
Housewives, you know, says, will you come on for a few weeks? And
Right.
it's great, and I love acting and stuff, but wow, I got to a point where I was just like, I would feel physically ill about going on an audition because I was like, I know I'm not going to get this. I'm too specific looking, and I'm a much better actor now than I was, which means I'm going to make specific choices, which means you're not going to have universal agreement in the room.
Right.
And if you can't have universal agreement in the room, you're not going to get cast.
Right.
So it's never been a better time for, and I don't mean this as a criticism of people who look like this or have an acting skill of this level, but if you have kind of a forgettable face and your acting is, it's okay. I mean, get ready to buy a house. Like, you're going to work a lot. And again, I mean no criticism of those actors, but this is your time.
Get ready to buy a house.
There's a lot of casting by committee. David Mamet did a really great article a few years ago for the Los Angeles Times, of all places.
Oh, that old dinosaur.
About this casting by committee and how it just makes his job impossible. Because
Right.
you can't, it has to be the person that everybody goes, which one?
Yeah.
Jane? Yeah, I guess she's okay. I don't have a problem with her. Do
Yeah,
you have,
she doesn't offend me.
Yeah, she's
so
okay.
I suppose.
But not so-and-so. I mean,
She was
you
too
know,
special.
She was specific.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, I've only ever studied with 2 acting teachers, and who I totally respect and got a lot out of. And in both of those classes, if you weren't making really specific choices,
That was the whole point.
they would be like, go sit down.
Yeah.
I don't want to see you up here right now.
Right.
Or what are you doing?
Yeah. I'm trying
You're
to
gonna
fit in.
Make a choice. Yeah, that's it. That's supposed to be a fatal flaw for actors.
Yes.
But now it's become your means of employment.
Yeah.
I think it's terrible.
It's genius du jour. So in that regard also, you can't possibly be prepared for the explosion of success that the show has. And most actors who are on any sort of explosive success, usually from television, but often from films, the after effect of after the run is always, well, you have to go away now, but no one tells you that. Mm-hmm. It'd be nice to have someone in your life that said, that was a spectacular 7 years. Thank your lucky charms. It may end up being the greatest job you ever have, may not, but you need to kind of go away now for the next 3 or 4 years and let people rediscover you and say, hey, where is, we miss, as opposed to try to instantly following it. So as the show is winding down, is anyone saying, first of all, the network is full of spin-off ideas and all
Yeah.
of that. Is anyone in your inner circle saying any sort of advice as to where to go from here?
No, for
I mean,
me,
you'd already diversified and started to do other things.
Yeah, for me it went, you know, the auditions I went on, I don't know, I wound up getting a lot of plays right after. Like I did The Crucible off Broadway while Arthur Miller was still alive, and he would come to rehearsals. And,
Holy
and
crap,
I
we're
know,
going to have to
come
talk
on.
about that.
Come on, I got a picture of me with him. Did Speed the Plow at Williamstown with Treat Williams, which was awesome.
Oh, wow.
Did Vatican's Lulu, which was Louise Brooks did the film version of it, so it was very much her type of character and stuff. Did that at Berkeley Rep, and so on. I mean, I did, and again at the time, if you had been successful in a pop culture kind of way, you had to get legitimacy.
Yes.
Which is not an element now, which is unfortunate. So I was really happy to be getting those kinds of jobs. And,
Yeah, and because of the
this
TV.
was all in Berkeley and then New York Off-Broadway and all. I said that, yeah. I gotta say that it was in New York. You
But
know,
it's
it
nice
wasn't. Yeah.
also, though, that because of the fame from the show, you're actually putting butts in the seats.
Yeah, hopefully, but but if you're playing Abigail in The Crucible, you're going to get a lot of like, really, let me see.
Yes.
So you had to know
Mallory
what the hell you were doing.
is
Yeah.
Abigail.
And fortunately, I did a good performance. I didn't get, creamed.
Right.
I did a good performance.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happened, and then I really, really wanted to have this independent film career, and it just didn't happen. I mean, I did some independent films, but I was like, I want to work with like Jim Jarmusch, and I had this list. I'm trying to remember the independent filmmakers at that time that were like Alan Rudolph. I wanted all these guys, right?
But what's the
And it
learning
just
curve?
didn't happen.
Well, because it's lightning in a bottle.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why I'm curious what the learning curve is post the TV show, how absurdly easy that was to start,
Yeah,
how instantly ginormous it became
yeah.
for a newcomer. And then the learning curve afterwards, because the
Learning.
organic thought process would be, well, it's all going to be that easy. I mean, that's the human instinct is,
Yeah, and I could have gone and done another show.
oh, yes.
And also remember, that was a time when if you were on television, you didn't do films. There was a real division there. I mean, I think Mike Fox and Chris Lloyd were the only people that were going on both sides of the aisle, you know?
It was a huge big deal.
Really
when
big.
Ted Danson did 3 Men and a Baby, was it?
Yeah.
That was a big thing, too. What's
Yeah.
this television star doing in a motion picture? Absolutely, it was
Yeah,
a
there was
problem.
there was
I
no
remember Mike
crossover.
especially was like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
You're allowed?
And then he did a film with, I think, James Brooks or Jimmy Woods right after. And I mean,
Jamie, you love that movie where Jimmy Woods and
They play
Michael
cops
J.
or something,
Fox.
or?
The Hard Way.
oh, good.
Or just Hard Way.
Oh.
Is it just Hard Way or The Hard
I
Way?
think it's the hard way.
I'm going to go with The Hard Way. Let's say it 6 more
So
times.
a few people did that, but but I had other things happening in my growth as a person. Other things going on at that time.
Oh, did you?
So
How
there
dare
were,
you?
No, I mean the timing of it was, but so it was time. So there was something always. So that started happening. So I was doing that, and then where did things go? Yeah. And then I guess it was really like in 2000 when I started a clothing company that I tell you one thing, so far in my life, the biggest element of my life is timing. And because I'm conscious of timing, I also have to be really good at waiting.
Yes.
And waiting, holy shit, that's so fucking hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard because so much doubt comes in and can just like crush your sense of what is going to happen. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I did a lot of waiting between having done, and I came back when I did Men Behaving Badly
Right.
with
Eldard.
Rob Schneider and Ron Eldard.
Yeah.
Those guys are great.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
fun. So I did that. But yeah, I mean, and it's true. And it's so about lightning in the bottle because it's so true. And people go like, what happened? What happened to so-and-so? Or how come so-and-so's not a big star anymore? Or how come this and that? It's like, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't you instead say, wow, that's really remarkable that you were involved in something. I mean, the odds of that happening to anybody on the planet is pretty unusual.
I liken it to, really didn't win another lottery? Just the one. Huh. You beat all the human odds and won $360 million, and that didn't happen again?
It's also telling, though, of a society that counts having been on a TV series and having made a lot of money as being the pinnacle of human existence.
I know, what the hell?
Because you go, yeah, I didn't do that, but I got my pilot's license later. I don't know if that counts for any.
Single engine, your dossier says.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a moment, but first, let's
word
go to the
from our sponsor.
interwebs.
Oh, let's.
And to grab a few questions from our viewers.
All right, nothing nasty.
And then we're going to do a little Tyra Paris or to me, so be ready for the Twitter game. And also, I forgot to warn you about the Larry King game. That comes at the end.
I love it. Bring it on.
Okay, good. This is from the Twitterverse. @Philip III asks, was it Jason's idea for you to play Nellie the prostitute on Arrested Development?
I don't know. It might have been. I mean, I'd visited the set a couple of times, and you know, Mitch had said, Hurwitz had said, oh, you should come on the show, and we were like, I was like, yeah, maybe I could play somebody who's such a freakazoid that she says, she dates Jason and then says, I'm pregnant, and he's like, well, I don't know how that's possible. Like, we didn't sleep together. No, it's yours. I know it's yours.
That's funny.
He was kind of into that for a minute. Or he seemed to be. But so I don't know. I don't know who introduced the idea. But it was fun to do for sure. Oh
must
my
have
God.
been fun.
Will Arnett, like, it's very, very difficult to do scenes with him because you just.
They're illusions, Michael.
I just want to completely crack up.
Yeah.
Every time. That was fun.
He's new to the Twitterverse, by the way.
Will is?
@ArnettWill.
I'm glad he's on, considering he has a development deal to do internet productions. He
Hello.
better get a Twitter
Get with
account.
the program, genius. We do another thing on the show, which is a rapid-fire question, sort of a this or that,
Okay.
Coke or Pepsi kind of deal. And it has a name, and we like to call it Tweet 5.
T5, T5, T5 forever now.
Gotta love Dave
He's
Keckner.
so funny.
This one comes from @PurpleMonkey27, because that's a name. Okay, Tweet 5, web series or TV series?
Web series.
Alex P. Keaton or Mike Flaherty?
Who's Mike Flaherty? That's bad. I know. The name's familiar, but I don't know who it is.
No, don't ask me. I didn't write the question. I mean, literally, these are put forth by.
All right.
It must be someone that they think you worked with.
Shit. I probably
Skirt
did.
or skort?
A skirt.
Okay. Shoes or purse?
Shoes. I hate carrying a purse.
Why?
It's annoying. It's like this. It's something I've got to remember. I brought and I bring it with me. I'm definitely like, I only want the possessions I can fit in my pockets.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And lastly, if not most importantly, Dweezil or Ahmed?
Dweezil or Ahmed, that's tough, man.
Right?
That is tough. I mean, Dweezil.
It's Sophie's choice.
He speaks Chinese or Japanese and plays wicked guitar. And Ahmed's created an entire world. I forget what it's called now. He has some books out. He's going to do a whole, I think, franchise series of films on this and everything. And they're, they were my neighbors when I was like a kid. I mean.
Were they really?
Well, I got to take that back. I hung out with them a lot when I was a kid, and then later bought a house down the street from them.
Oh, okay.
So
How young were you when you were all frolicking as friends?
16.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Devo is like this big. She's an amazing knitter, by the way.
Really?
Amazing. She makes some stunning capes. And I tell you, because I had a clothing company and did one-of-a-kind hand knits for years, so
You had a clothing company, by the way. Bad Baby Boy. Do we say had or have?
Wow, that's good that you know that one. That was.
You have a dossier.
Okay, it was Justine Bateman Designs, and then I had 3 T-shirt labels that I wanted to expand. One was Swerve, one was Bad Baby Boy, and one was Bad Baby Girl.
And some of these products worn by Britney Spears and Courtney Love. Anyone not batshit that you sold your stuff to? I didn't say that. What?
I had.
Famous people wearing your threads. That's not a bad thing. That's got to be.
Christina Aguilera wore one of my tops on a cover. Nikki Costas, the singer.
Sure.
I forget how to pronounce her name.
Were you actually designing?
Oh yeah, I designed them, bought the yarn, made them. It was one of a kind.
Well, my mom does that, but you.
Oh yeah, but these were These are like loosely knit hand. I mean, it's a lot of the styles that you see now, but nobody was doing it then.
Once again, ahead of the curve.
I know.
You ready for another Tweet 5?
Yeah, give it.
I love to involve them whenever possible. Thank you, Dave Keckner. Bring it home.
T5 forever now.
Love you.
Forever.
Punk or metal?
Oh, shit, man.
These are tough. Some of these are
That one's really hard.
There's no wrong answer.
I gotta take punk because it's just. I gotta take punk.
Okay, good. Photographs or paintings?
I've always been a big fan of unmanipulated photos. I mean, I own like a Ouija and a Diane Arbus, and so I
Wow.
gotta say photos.
And this one, of course, I know very dear to your heart. Muscle car or rice burner?
Muscle car all day.
Beach or mountains?
Mountains. I don't really care about the ocean. I mean, oh my God, don't get me wrong. Oh my God. All the kelp activists right now are freaking out. No, I just, I don't care about.
That is the core of our audience, by the way.
We have a lot of kelp activists.
But I really like being in trees and, yeah, definitely mountains over ocean. Sorry, beach,
Speaking
whatever.
of which, you were Men in Trees.
Men in trees, that's right. That was great.
You did like a recurring thing on that, no?
I did. Was it recurring or was it when they have you 10 shows in a row? Aren't you a regular?
Yeah.
Here's your 9th guest star contract. Really?
Yeah. How long are you going to get away with not paying me? 10
awesome.
shows, apparently. And
Yeah.
lastly, old media or new,
New all day.
right?
Yeah, forever.
I've never experienced creative freedom or the sort of rewards that come with it since I did stand-up. And it wasn't until
Really?
recently that I realized that's what had been missing. You know, people had so often asked, you know, which do you prefer, doing the movies or the stand-up? And I always joked that I prefer not to be asked because I wanted to do both. Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
But boy, you get bored fast sitting in your trailer on your ass doing nothing.
Like for 80% of your day.
Yeah, and well, 11 of your 12-hour day for sure, and not even sure it's a job. But then also waiting 8 to 10 months if you said something funny to find out if anybody else thinks it's funny. Versus for a comedian, that, you know, that's really hell on earth.
You know what I really like too is the, you know, working in old media, they have these business templates. You know, so there's no, unless you're like the top 1%, there's really no leeway to negotiate something interesting. And that's one of the things I love about new media right now is being able to design the business models, the deals, thinking outside the box with stuff. You know, not just in designing the format of a show like you've done.
You're
or
restrained
just-
only by your imagination.
Yeah.
And that hasn't existed for me in traditional media ever. Really? We get to design how to do the business model? Yeah, pretty much. It's on you. Shit.
It's great though. And all these people that are saying, well, nobody's really figured it out yet, and you know, somebody's going to figure it out. And I'm like, oh my God, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be on your deathbed going, oh, I get it. Few generations get a pioneering moment, and I actually got one.
Yeah.
And I didn't take advantage of it. Because right now is when we all get to design the business models.
Yeah.
I mean, so jump in and design it. You
Yeah.
don't sit back and go, oh, I don't know, has somebody figured this out yet? It's like, oh, you're going to follow the contracts that I put together. That's interesting.
Right. And by the way, what horrible, horrible freedom, right?
Well, it's hard to pay the bills with that freedom, but
You can't quit your day job just yet.
we get more and more people, you know.
Yeah, no,
involved.
it's,
financial, you know, people who have money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have to be. They have to be. I think right now there's a lot of like executives that don't want to be held responsible if it doesn't go right, because nobody ever got fired for doing something again that somebody else had already proven works.
They're all looking to point fingers. Absolutely. Yeah. They do not want the blame for anything. All they want is the credit, of course. And I may have said it last week, talking to Sherry O'Terry, who is
Love
here.
her. She's so funny. Oh my God.
So wonderful. About, and we were talking about it outside before the show, just how, yeah, it's taken a while for the brands and whatnot to sort of get it out of the millions of dollars they spend every year, month in, month out on media buys, that the if you build it, they will come mentality is finally catching up to an opportunity for them and no longer a what? A question of what? What do you want from me? They now see it as an opportunity.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, this is an opportunity, I dare say,
Okay.
for a little bit of levity.
Nice.
And now to introduce Tyra Paris or to me, or Pyra Terrace or to me,
Yeah.
our very own Sam Levine,
Let's
everybody.
roll the roll in.
Roll
with
the
no
roll
audio
in.
yet.
Bum, bum, ba-bida. Sha-ba-bida, ba. Look at that graphic. Woo! Yeah.
Scooty.
Soon we're going to have an audio roll in as
we
well.
will definitely get some audio for that.
What's the
soon.
CPM for a tweet? You know, what are people getting paid
yeah.
to tweet now?
Right.
Right? Because when you got that many followers, don't you? I'm surprised. Is Kim Kardashian one of the?
One of the three?
No.
We'll have to mix it up
No,
at some
yeah,
point.
She's
maybe-
got about
maybe throw it in there.
1.6. You might want to think about it.
Yeah, these. Yes, yes.
She might be calling, asking why she's
Why
not
am I?
on
I
there.
can't believe it. I'm not.
Well, maybe she needs to put out another sex tape. Remind everyone what made her famous in the first place.
I see what you're saying.
That's right. The skill set,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah,
You know the thing you're good at, you keep it up.
Yeah. Speaking of which, you're awfully good at this, so please
Oh,
explain.
come on. All right, so here we go.
Today's
Okay.
new contestant.
Am I gonna get
Paris or
paid?
me.
How the game works.
Well,
You might.
I'll get to the stakes in a second.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So I'm going to read a series of 8 tweets. Each was written by either Tyra, Paris, or to me. And then after I read the tweet, you ring in by saying your own respective name so that I know which person to look at.
Okay.
Instead of us
Because-
both saying Buzz,
Right.
you say your
then,
name and I
then
say
you
mine.
have 3 seconds to say whether you believe it was Tyra, Paris, or to me. Now,
Who wrote the tweet?
for every correct one you get, you're going to get yourself 5 points. If you get one wrong, you're going to lose 3.
Okay. Okay.
And there's
Guys
no
made this
second guessing,
complicated.
so you either
Okay.
get it or you don't. We move
All right,
on.
all right.
All right, now you're playing against Kevin here.
Oh, he's done this before.
I've won
You're not-
once.
He's terrible at this game. Hey, what? No, I don't post it and see every week who wins. Now you are playing for this fabulous $20 bill,
Nice.
which I lifted out of Jason Calcanis' wallet.
Jason.
Yes.
Thanks, Jason.
There you go. Thank you so much, Jason, as always, for leaving those laying around the office.
The Mad Greek doesn't know how much money we find in his office.
Seriously. Are you ready?
Yes.
Here we go. Tyra Paris or to me. Tweet number 1. What color should I get on my toes? Toenails, that is. Maybe we can bring painted toes into style. Would you paint your toes for fashion?
It's so bland, Justine. I'll say Paris.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's not terribly obvious because it is so bland.
so bland.
That's
in
what makes
fact-
the game
So
difficult.
I'm starting with a grand -3.
It's quite all right.
Okay,
It's quite
okay.
all right. That was Tyra, I'm afraid.
That was Tyra. Miss Bland.
Here we go. Tweet number 2.
Yeah.
Gonna catch up on Lost. I have a couple on my TiVo that I haven't seen yet. Can someone please explain to me what the heck is going on?
Kevin Paris.
That is correct.
Oh!
Oof.
Someone explained to me. That was it. I was done.
Yeah. Well, it's being. And by the way, good luck trying to explain if you've missed more than one episode of Lost. By the way, that is an entire evening.
I've
of
never
charts and
I
graphs.
tried doing it in 140 characters, right?
I've never missed a show, and I can't explain anything that's going on. That's what I love.
I'm in that boat.
Yeah. Tweet number 3.
It's one of the reasons I love it so much, by the way.
I love airplane food, especially peanuts. It's really the best part of the flight for me.
What?
Okay, Justine. I said, okay, like I know this person. Tyra?
That is correct.
Very
Nicely
good.
done.
I feel
Out
like
of
I'm
the
getting to
hole.
know her voice.
Through this show?
Based on my hard loss in the beginning, I feel like
Well,
I
you're back on the plus
got
side
her-
now. You're back
her
in the plus
voice.
column.
Okay.
So if you hit the daily double, you can really max it up. Tweet number 4.
Yes.
Spread a little sunshine today and smile at a stranger. You may just make their day.
Justine. Total Demi Moore.
100% Demi Moore.
Only because I know she tries to be uplifting
Yeah.
in her tweets.
She does. There's so much sadness in the world, and and all the people she's trying to affect definitely have access to the internet and Twitter. No question in my mind.
Especially those in, yeah.
Yeah. Tweet number 5. Taking off to Las Vegas with my girls. So excited for another amazing weekend of fun.
Kevin Paris?
Viva Las Vegas.
He just did it. He just did his answer.
Kevin Paris, I said.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I think I'm wrong, but I did say that.
No, you're correct.
No!
Kevin really
Back and
knows.
forth.
Kevin really knows the Paris voice.
As soon
He
as I
really
said,
does.
no, as soon as I said Vegas and making, who announces something like that?
Wow.
Negrin and Paris. He's one of our producers, Negrin.
All right, getting down to the nitty gritty here. It really is anyone's
Back and
game.
forth. It's back and forth.
Shoot.
Tweet number 6.
Anyone's game.
Had a very productive day of meetings. Feels so good to finally be home after such a long day.
Justine, to me. Oh, shit.
Oh, you.
It was Tyra, wasn't it?
Paris.
What?
I know.
Meetings?
That's. I think meetings is what she calls
euphemism?
A euphemism.
Like
I was
a-
at bar hopping, meeting, a little bit of
I
that.
was having some meetings.
All right. Still on the plus side. Still anyone's game. We got 2 questions to go. This could go anyway.
Yes.
Tweet number 7. Denzel Washington in the play Fences. Fabulous. I loved his performance and hated the selfish character he was playing. That's some good acting.
Justine, Tyra.
That's what I was going to say.
But she beat you to it and got the points.
Oh, look
Oh,
Nicely
so
done.
know Tyra's voice.
Nicely done.
You're really catching up on all things Tyra.
That's
All right.
fascinating.
Here we go.
How many-
This is it. This is 10-7. 1 tweet left.
Where's your math?
My math is perfect.
No.
No, your math is wrong.
She started -3, caught up with +2. She got one right, that's +7. Missed one, -3, down to 4, and then she just picked one up for +5. She's 9.
Oh, I missed one of those.
Alrighty.
I'm glad we got
God,
this
I'm
going.
10 to
I'm glad
9.
Kevin's here.
It makes a difference, by the way. If
Or
we're
I'd
10
be-
to
It
7
doesn't
or
make a
10 to
difference.
9.
It doesn't-
I'd be
Way to
sunk.
nitpick.
But there are 2
I'm
questions
sorry.
left.
We've been married
There's
for
one,
too long.
There's
Two-
one left.
One question left?
There's one. This is it. Tweet number 8. It comes down to this. It comes down to this. Ahem. Helping my pal at Amanda Decadinet with her photo shoot for Bizarre. All nudes.
Kevin
showing
DeMay.
Justine. That's what it is. That's what it is.
The photography thing?
He got it.
the photography? Was it
Well,
the
I
photography?
should have said it right after she said that the Amanda name, because I know that.
You know the name?
Yeah.
Ah.
Well, with a
Chicken
score
Little.
Of,
That's-
15
No, but
to
you got
9.
it, man.
Well, by,
Your winner is
by a second.
Courtesy of Jason.
Yes,
Kevin Pollak.
thank you, Jake. Yeah.
Really don't feel good about
That-
awarding you that victory.
that was-
But, I'll
But
do
you
it
know,
anyway.
he didn't miss one too, so he gets props for that. I missed 2.
Oh, I got 3. I think
got
you got.
3.
I think you got just
Well, you got the last one.
1, 2, 3. You got 3 correct as well.
No, but I
Ah,
got 2 wrong.
Congratulations. There are no losers here.
No, I don't believe in that. I think people should win and lose. I don't believe in everyone gets a trophy.
Oh, good for you.
Oh, I agree.
Because
Because
you
I
were
think-
definitely a loser here.
And they're all
I was,
losers in
and
this
you have
game.
to know how to deal with that.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm going to cry in my car after, I need to own that. You
I
know?
agree 100%. I have one of my sister's closest friends back home was telling me she went to her son's softball game and you're allowed to cheer, you're not allowed to boo.
Oh my God.
You're not allowed. That's the only. I thought that was a little bizarre.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you really shouldn't be like booing children. I guess like boo,
Well, but
I
they're
mean,
probably booing the outcome. They're booing,
Right.
you know, that sort of
yes,
thing.
you're allowed to cheer, you're not allowed to boo.
Well, I was saying boo earns.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Thank you, Sammy.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Sam
Thank you.
Levine,
Good
everyone.
treat.
Thank you.
Mother's Day, so let's talk a little bit about. Is this one of the rules for the kids that there must be losing and there must be winning, or is this just something you discovered as an adult for yourself?
Well, I know as a kid and as an adult, let's put it this way. As a kid, I definitely was in situations where you won or you lost because there wasn't this trophy for everyone mentality.
Right.
And I think it's really good training for when you're an adult. Because if there's one opening, one job opening, you know, with acting job or something else, one person's going to get it. Now, what kind of training have you had to deal with that sort of thing if you grew up, if up until you were 18 years old, everyone got a trophy?
Right.
You know, so now you're starting, now you've got the emotional development of a 6-year-old in that arena. And now you've got to start from there. Like that, I don't think that's fair to do to kids It's not good training for them.
Yeah, in terms of expectations in the real world.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean, make sure they know they're losers, like you just did to me. No, I'm kidding. But I mean, just go and say,
I don't understand what you mean.
Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose, and if it's a game of chance or something, you just explain that. Or if it's a game if it's a situation where somebody has more skill than you do at something, or they practiced harder or something.
Maybe there's
you're able to
something-
explain that, not to make them feel badly about themselves, and also that, it's okay to not win. It's not like it's going to change your life.
Handling defeat, probably a good life lesson.
Right.
We always learn more from our defeats than our victories. Yeah. By the way, mistakes we make is how we learn. More importantly, how about a sense of accomplishment should you be the victor?
I know.
What the hell's the matter with that? As
Because-
opposed to, wait a minute, everyone else got a trophy, but they didn't do shit. I actually won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Your children are now still young.
Yeah, 6 and 7.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they get all of this. Have they shown any aspirations for the business we call show?
I don't think
No, it's very young.
and I think when you're on set and the director's talking to the hairdresser about your hair and come here, let me show you what I'm talking about, and they futz with your hair. It's like, can it just be more like this? Can you? Yeah, I can do that. Well, how much time do you need? I don't, how much time can I have? I don't know. Do it in 5. Here, just take him. Just do it in 5 minutes. Right? And
Yes.
that's not unusual.
No, that's every day.
Happens
day.
all the time.
Yeah. Nobody means anything bad by it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now you take a child who has not formed a sense, or this is sometimes true of adults too, but even universally more true of children who've not formed a sense of themselves.
Right.
And something like that happens, they kind of pull that into themselves as a kind of a clue as to how to define themselves.
Right.
And that's not good.
No, it's really bad, actually.
I don't know, just little things like that. It's hard enough to do that when you're a teenager or a young adult, but I think when you're a child, it's, I think, very confusing. And yet, what are you going to do? You need children in productions. You can't just have childless content always.
That certainly doesn't make sense, no.
So,
Plus,
I
when
don't
you
know.
get to be an age where you need to play the parent, you're going to need children in order to work.
Yes. So
On screen.
I'm glad they're out there. I guess I would just hope that the parents could have a healthy outlook of what it actually is. It's here for a time. It's not going to be here later.
Yeah.
I mean, by virtue of the fact your child's going to get bigger.
And how were your folks on that regard, by the way? Your dad was a producer, or is?
Yeah, he was kind of a producer, writer, and, did things here and there. And, yeah, they were fine, and again, I was already like 16 years old, so it wasn't, you really just need someone legally to be on the set. And then 18, you're moving out, so you weren't that far away from that. But also, Gary Goldberg, who Family Ties was his show, and everyone else he had on the set. I mean, it really was like just a great place to go. He would never allow. I mean, we had a great makeup artist, Bron Roylance, but he was always like really aware of, he didn't want a lot of makeup on my face. And it was just a great atmosphere on the set too. It was not only taking care that there's kids on the set, because me and Tina Yothers were underage, but also treating us as adults creatively.
Right.
I mean, we would have a notes session after every Wednesday run through, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I mean, I grew so accustomed to that. I mean, I know people don't know, but that's like highly unusual. Highly unusual for all the writers and the actors to sit around a table at the end and go through the whole script, talk about what worked, what didn't work, what thing, and the actor would go, no, don't change it. I know how to adjust that and make it better. Or the writers, or you'd say, I think I can adjust that, and they're like, no, it's the writing. We're going to change that. And the time that they would give to the network, again, that was a time when, you know, in TV history where you had like one executive, it was Warren Littlefield, by the way, one executive overseeing like 5 different shows, versus now there's like 7 executives looking at one show.
Right.
So you're going to get these notes from, I mean, I feel bad for them. They've got to, they don't want to look like, you know, yeah, I don't know, it looks fine to me. You know, and people go like, how come we're even paying him if he's not, you know, saying something bad? So anyway, we had this. It was a really great environment to, as a teenager, young adult, to be in creatively too, because you were respected.
Right.
That's the bottom line. You were respected.
Yeah. Well, I suppose I have to ask a little bit about the organic and natural sibling rivalry that happens in most families. In your situation with you and your brother, you mentioned he was in, I think, in the last season of Little House.
Yeah.
And then you exploding on Family Ties. It seems like that you're taking turns for a while. And he's now able to be one of those bizarre, rare cases who had some attention and fame as a child actor.
Yeah.
And now has matured into Cary Grant. I mean, there's this bizarre sort of original comedic energy that he exudes. I'm, as you could probably tell, a huge fan. So I'm curious, what was the trajectory like in terms of just being brother and sister?
I mean, it was ironic that he was the one who wanted to be an actor, and it never crossed my mind. You know, and yet then, you know, it was on Family Ties. And I know Jason had done, did a lot of pilots during that period. And
how was he during Family Ties in terms of being your brother and the one who wanted it first?
I guess fine, but I don't know. He was 3 years younger. I'm just focused on doing the show and doing school and then moving out and, you know, living with my boyfriend. And I don't know. I wasn't really focused on it. I don't really know. That'd be an interesting question for him.
Well, we'll ask him forever.
And then for a time there, you know, and then he was on the Hogan Family, or was it called Hogan?
Anybody?
Valerie, it was Valerie Harper's show. Maybe it was called Valerie, and then it was called the Hogan Family. But that was on for like 5 years. So, and then I would do a TV movie that got some notice, you know, some critical notice, and then he did one. Or I don't mean like he did it after me. I mean, there was a time there where we were doing things almost in parallel, not exactly parallel, but and then yeah, you're right. After he did Arrested Development, he just, and at that point I might have been doing my clothing company. So, I mean, we definitely started taking like completely different directions, you know, at one point, and yeah, he's been, you know, he's got a big film career now.
We talked earlier about not winning the lottery that second time and how that's considerably more natural than what people think.
Yeah.
So I assume you're thrilled for the fact that he's somehow hit this insane lottery again.
It's funny though. I am totally thrilled for him because I assume he's really happy about it. But it's not at all on my wish list. For me, you know what I mean? So, oh, that's great. I'm really happy for you because you seem to be pleased with that. For me, I feel like everything I've done in my career up until this point is for right now.
Right.
Is for new media and this direction and everything. So, yes, I'm totally happy with him because I know he's happy about it.
Right.
But it's not like I'm going, oh my God, I can't believe you got to that point. I always wanted to get to that point. Oh my God, is it exciting?
Oh no, we're clear that you never wanted to get there. That's one of the things I've actually traced through your dossier and talking to you today was that it's all been sort of on a learning curve in terms of, oh, I guess this is what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to create and go and expand beyond that. So yeah, I was speaking more along the lines of how brothers and sisters sort of celebrate each other's lives and whether there was a point where, as you both matured, and I think you just answered it, which is that you both found your own wonderful place in the sun. And although you may have started out on what seemed to be the same,
a little bit of a parallel, yeah.
So anyways, yeah, that's
Yeah.
nice to know that.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's and it is really unusual for somebody who was a child star, a child TV star, to now have a feature career like this. I mean,
It's
I
as
can't think of another
impossible
one.
as it gets, actually.
Actually, well, this is a few years ago, but when Kurt Russell had so many
He's the
popular
only other one that I can
Disney
think of.
shows, and then had like a really rockin' film career.
The computer wore tennis shoes. I think he was the star.
My
of
favorite, Barefoot Executive.
Barefoot Executive.
Anyone? Do you? You must know it. No?
Interesting
It's really good.
line there with the computer that wore tennis shoes and the barefoot.
Barefoot Executive.
Executive.
It's really good.
And also, he was a baseball star before that, which is.
Was he really?
I mean, in
That's
between.
awesome.
I'm sorry.
How
He
could I
had the
not know that?
child Disney movie guy.
And then he was a baseball
And
star?
then he chucked it all and said, "I want to be in baseball." He was roommates
not
with
know
Ron
that?
Shelton, who went on to
kidding.
write Bull Durham, because that's what he and Ron Shelton were living
Wow. I can't believe I didn't
as
know that.
AAA or AA ball players. And then, yeah. So you're right. It is that bizarrely fluky, though, that we have to go, who else? And
Well, and I mean, another one that's kind of interesting is Greg Kinnear
yes. Well,
hosting
wholly original in his
Yeah.
path.
hosting a show on Movie Line. I used to hang out with him, and I remember when he made the
That
tape.
was before Soup.
Yes, he made the tape. He wanted to be a VJ
Right.
on MTV, and I said, and I knew the MTV people a little bit, and I said, well, you've got to put together some sort of sample thing, and I said, you do a thing where you're doing just VJ stuff, and then do an interview with somebody. I'll do an interview with you, right? And so you're doing like a celebrity interview, and have a few things you put in the tape and stuff, and that he did all those things and got that Movie Line job,
Right.
which then became E, I guess, that channel.
Right.
And then, yeah, he did in the
Soup.
Soup. I thought he was the best host
And
of
then he
that
took over
series.
for Costas. I remember doing the talk show as a guest when he did
Amazing.
the later. Thing.
And then he's on.
And I remember actually
he's
doing
on-
the show, and he said, "Yeah, I'm going to go do this movie with Sidney Pollack." And I said, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
No, you're not. You're crazy. What do you?
Yeah.
Does everyone know that you're saying these things? Because he was saying,
Sidney Pollack, no, you're saying that.
he said, "Yeah, I'm opposite Harrison Ford and the beautiful actress, and I'm the,
Amazing.
I'm the other guy, the other sexy guy, other than Harrison Ford." And I said, "You have to stop saying this out loud, because people are going to hear you." And he was spectacular. And then Academy Award nomination for As Good as It Gets.
Yeah. Trippy.
Yeah, quite the Julie Ormond to block
Nice.
Sabrina, yeah.
Sabrina.
Oh, that's
In fact, the
right,
movie
that
was
was the
called
one.
Sabrina. Yeah.
That was the one.
She's hot, by the way.
She's on Nurse
Yes.
Jackie right now.
Right.
Awesome. Yeah.
I hope you're gearing up and are kind of ready for the Larry King game, because it's not too far off.
Okay. I feel like I need to prove something now because I lost the Tweet 5 thing.
I didn't want to say it, but I'm
Or
glad
not.
you did.
Not Tweet 5, but.
Oh, sorry. No, not Tweet 5. You're absolutely right.
But
The
to be
Tyra,
fair, you
Demi,
lost by such a
Paris.
slim margin. There have been crushing defeats
It was
in the
6
game.
points.
No. Let me point something
6
out to
points.
you. In the past, there's been such disparaging numbers that we had to say this last question is worth 20 points just to make it that the last question, actually had a difference.
Okay,
And
so we were-
So the fact that
we
we
were
were
neck and neck.
I'm
All right,
just
all right.
saying it was a
Good.
beautiful thing, and I couldn't ask for more. That is your camera. When you decide you are ready to do the Larry King game, we have props. If you want to put on any sort of Larry King glasses, they're not a
God,
necessity.
I've got to remember his
I
whole
will tell
thing,
you
huh?
the rules again if you'd like them. In preparing your Larry
Please.
King game, it's quite simple. Created by our very own Jamie Foxx. Larry, hell of a career, but
Yeah.
he's 107. And it's our belief here that it's only a matter of time before he shares something on air about himself that none of us need to know. That's the moment we'd like you to reenact. You're Larry.
shit.
You must do a bad Larry King impression. So all the pressure's off to do a good one. Seriously, it's part of the rule. You must do a bad one. If you do a good one, we're going to be very upset. So bad Larry King impression, and then that moment when Larry reveals something about himself, not you. And then go to the phone. And when you go to the phone, it would help if the city is kind of funny sounding, if possible. Your Saskatoon, kind of funny. But that's it. That's kind of it. So anything you'd like Larry to reveal is kind of really the crux of, and it could be anything. We've seen 62 variations
right,
on this
okay.
theme, and the spectrum is as wide as it goes. When you're ready, into your camera,
Okay.
Godspeed.
Is it like this?
There you go.
Hello, everybody. It's Larry King. Welcome to Larry King Live. The year is 2021. I'd like everybody to know I'm getting married again for the 29th time. And I have a bit of a confession. She's underage, not just under my age, for there are no people alive still that are my age. But she is 14. We are getting married in the small town of Wigglesmouth, Arkansas, for it is legal there. But her name, Daisy, and she's a delight. So that's my news. And I was sleeping with her before the impending nuptials. Obviously, the marriage hasn't happened yet, so. It was consensual, and her parents are excited about it. So I will take calls now. Caller, you're on the line. Can I get some more suspenders?
Yeah, is what I'm talking about. Beautiful. Very, very nice. Okay. I like the rollout, the whole presentation.
I took it into the future.
We had 3
I don't know
acts.
if that was okay with you.
No, it was terrific. We took it in the future was a first. I loved it. I thought, where's she going 2021? And you went right there beautifully. And what an original way to comment on something we already know. Enough with the marrying.
He's going to get married
Just stop
again.
it.
But think about the ladies, too.
Oh, my.
You go,
Yeah.
this has happened a lot.
Right, and yes, and there's only got to be so much gold left to dig, by the way.
Does he, I mean, who knows, but does he have, like, prenuptial agreements with all of these women?
Oh, it's got to be like a stamp at this point, not even a signature, just...
This is our boilerplate.
Yes, it's a quick one sheet, just have your guy...
Like, yeah, there's no need for your lawyer to look through. 9 lawyers have looked through it before you, so...
Honey, it's just 3
good to go.
words. It says you get nothing. I can't thank you enough, honestly.
That's great.
What a wonderful way for us to spend Mother's Day. I hope you enjoy the rest of yours.
Yes, and I want to thank my husband and kids for
allowing you.
letting me come on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
I was like, honey, I'm doing Kevin Pollak's show, and I committed to like Sunday the 9th, and I promise you, I so don't identify with the whole mom title, the whole mom culture and thing, that I didn't even realize it was Mother's Day until like yesterday morning, and I was like, oh, I'm doing a thing tomorrow.
Yeah, that brunch you've got scheduled.
Yeah, I'm doing a thing.
It's going to have to be a dinner.
But I'm, thrilled to be here, and I'm so proud of you and so happy about this show, and like, keep going, man. Get
Thank
bigger
you.
and better and everything.
And thank you, and you as well, and you'll come back, please, and tell us as the future becomes more and more today, all the exciting things as they unfold and mature in the years to come. We would love to have you back, so please look forward to that.
Thank you.
All right, sit there uncomfortably while I wrap things up one last time. I wonder, don't you, Jamie, what the crew's been up to other than making lots of noise for the last hour and a half? By the way, does it seem like an hour and a half?
They're cleaning up. Maybe they're helping me clean up.
No, that would be a historic moment, and setting the bar of hopes way too high, I'm afraid. Let's take a look out there in the outside of the studio area to see exactly what the crew's been up to, shall we? Oh, look, they kept it real, and now it's competitive and weird. Oh, that was perfect.
Totally worth all that noise.
It really was. Now I see what all the noise was about. They had to make little cards. All right, well, thank you all very much. Very excited to continue this month of creative people, not just from the funny, but from the interweb, the inner vision, as the Sklar brothers will be with us next Sunday. You may know them from stand-up comedy, and you may know them from the inner vision. They are twins, they are brothers, and they are absolutely hilarious, and I'm very excited to have them on the show. Sammy, did you have a parting thing you wanted to?
I did. Unfortunately, I will not be here next week.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, I know. You know this. This is not news to you.
What are you talking about?
I will be in New York doing a little shooting.
A little shooting?
Just a little shooting.
You're shooting a thing?
Shooting a little thing.
You're on a thing that's shooting.
I'm on a thing that's shooting, nothing big, but I will not be here, and so please take good care of these Sklar's in my stead, because they employed me earlier this year, and
Yeah.
that's very nice of them.
And you also helped us nab them for the show, so thank you for that, and enjoy your job on the right coast.
My pleasure.
I'm not going to be here either.
Jamie,
Whoa.
I understand you're not going to be here either. Why
I'll
is
be
that?
in Disney World
Excuse me?
for the whole week.
Disney World? What are you talking about?
Yes.
The happiest place on earth?
No, that's Disneyland.
What do they call Disney World? The saddest place?
No, the whole
The most
world.
expensive place on
Yes.
earth?
Well, yeah, so we should thank Mr. Brock Butts for helping to make that possible as well. Our connection. He's a wonderful concierge. And a good friend. So we'll look forward to seeing you next Sunday, and then after that, I believe, is Greg Proops, and then Martin Mull. We'll continue the cavalcade of names, look to the site for more listings, and then we're going to go to New York City, our own damn selves, I think, do the show live from the Paley Museum of Broadcasting, or I think it's now called the Paley Museum of Media. But they want to honor the show on Sunday, June 6th, or so we've been told. We'll finalize those details and share them with you ASAP. Until then, and until next week, as always, happy Mother's Day. Now get out of my face.